Welcome back, everybody. All right, so for my recipe today, this has a name in my house. It's called the pasta with no name. I know that sounds a little weird, but it's because I change it up so often and kind of just use what I have around. That's just what I call it. But today I found a way to rein it in. I'm gonna call it a Sausage Orzo Skillet. It's a one-pot wonder, and it's a great way to get a little extra veg in your life, and your kids won't know about it. I love that, and we're gonna talk about that in just a moment. But first, I got a big old nonstick skillet. It doesn't have to be nonstick, but man, that makes your life easier. So I got a deep nonstick skillet here, heating up a little bit of olive oil, because we're gonna get an onion rolling in here. We're gonna build some flavors. But when I say one pot meal, this is a one-pot meal. It's all going in this one skillet, and it always cooks fantastically. So, and easy, it comes together quick. I always have these ingredients laying around. So let's go ahead and chop up our onion. Going down the lines, of course, like we always talk about. Give it a quarter turn straight down. Give it a toss, or give it a turn, run your knife through. Let's do the next one. Those lines are going down. Cut down those lines. Quarter turn, straight down. Heating up a little bit of olive oil from our friends at the stock market. And we're gonna get this going. Now, are we gonna hear a sizzle? Because that's what we need. It's not great. I'm gonna hold off for 1 second. Sometimes the stove just has a mind of its own, so we're gonna let it heat up for 1 more minute. While we do that, I have some Italian sausage here from Pelkins that we love using, so I'm gonna get that ready as well. Oh, now I'm hearing a little bit of a sizzle. We'll get this in. We're just looking to saute these down a little bit, make them translucent. It's a light sizzle. It's a light sizzle, and I know I always say don't put anything in a pan that doesn't have a hard sizzle, but you know what? We're on TV, and I have a backup, so we're gonna let this slowly start cooking here. I hear a little bit of a sizzle. You do your thing, honey. All right, so we're gonna get the sausage in here as well. Italian sausage. I like to use the bulk stuff because it makes life easier. Pelkins has it ready to go for me. I like that. And then the other day I used this fun thing, and I think it's really fun, so I'm gonna use this thing. How did I live my whole life without it? I know why, Sarah. I have the wrong burner on. That was me. It's this burner. I'm sliding it over. I've had 3 sips of coffee. We're gonna get more. All right, no wonder that burner was hot from before, so we're gonna let it start cooking on this burner. It'll make more sense now. All right, so let's let this cook up a little bit. Do your thing. Now, let's go ahead and get some other flavors going. The first thing we're gonna do is, of course, get a little bit of garlic. You know I love my garlic, and that adds a really beautiful flavor to this. So give it a little smash. Now, while I'm chopping up garlic, and I hear this cooking along, I wanna talk about one of your questions from our little rapid fire questionnaire that Abby and I got to go through, and we probably only hit 20% of your questions, so we'll have to have a part 2. But for me, I want you to know, you are such a good parent no matter what you're feeding your kids. Let's start there. Are they eating? Fantastic. Second of all, I want you to rest assured, I did everything right. I made all the baby food from organic farm vegetables that were in California. I added curry, Ethiopian spices. My kids ate everything, and I remember thinking in that new parent kind of way, I'm an amazing parent. Like, I don't know how people can have picky kids, but look at me go. See, you can't think that way, because both of my kids, when they turned 1, just stopped eating everything. They just hated everything, and as a new parent, what do? We panic, right? And they're not gonna eat, so you just start feeding them noodles, toast, chicken nuggets, the things that if they're gonna eat, you're just hoping they eat. So, and that's what I did as a new parent. So rest assured, if you have picky kids at home, you know, you hear a lot of just feed them what you're eating, and I get that, but we also, it's a different day and age. We move really fast nowadays. There are kids, you know, who have a lot of aversions or on the spectrum, whatever it is, whatever you're dealing with at home, it's not easy. And no matter what you're doing, I assure you, you're doing a great job, and a lot of times they just grow out of it. So for me, I have found zucchini to be a great vegetable to sneak into food. I add zucchini to everything. I shred it into their muffins. I add it to every pasta dish I make because it doesn't have flavor, really. It's pretty chill unless you add a lot to it. And if you cut it small, it just kind of melds into food. So my kids eat more zucchini than you can imagine. I grate it into muffins. I put it into every chicken noodle soup I make. Zucchini is one of those that I love. Same with spinach. Spinach looks ugly, but you know what it's like. You put 1,000 pieces of spinach in one dish and it melts down to nothing, but you still get those nutrients. Another one for me, cauliflower rice. I do a ton of cauliflower rice at my house. I mix it into regular rice. I don't just serve just cauliflower rice. I mix it in to regular rice. My kids have no idea. It's a great way to add a little nutrition. So for me, it's all about getting their taste buds on the savory side and putting in the veggies that have just a little bit of flavor, but not a lot. Don't start them heavy on Brussels sprouts. Like, they're gonna need to ease into it. And if they don't love it right away, they'll get there. I remember asking a chef friend of mine, I was very stressed that my 2-year-old wouldn't eat any vegetables, and I was very stressed. And he looked at me and said, how about you just worry about raising a nice human being and they'll figure it out. He'll be fine. And I'm like, yes. So it just kind of changed my whole perspective on the whole thing. It's just, yeah, let's just raise nice human beings and eventually they'll figure it out. I've also found making smoothies an amazing way to get some veggies in there, just getting some spinach in there, and then don't serve it in a clear cup. Get a colorful cup. Don't let them see that it's green, but my kids have no idea that it's green. So something to keep in mind. All right, so I added my zucchini and my garlic in here, breaking up this sausage here. If you don't have zucchini, you can throw in spinach. You can throw in mushrooms. You can throw in asparagus. This is why I call it the pasta with no name, because I just put in whatever. Normally a small zucchini is good to go. This one's really big, so I'm gonna save this for later, and I'll put it in one of their other foods. They won't know, it's fine. All right, so now we're gonna get a little extra flavor in here as well, of course, because we've got this Italian sausage, but let's add some stuff. So I have 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning going in. Also some chili flake. Now, who are you cooking for? You cooking for yourself? You like spice? Go heavy. For me, this is my family favorite, so I just do a little teeny bit, and then I leave some on the side for my husband and I to sprinkle afterwards. So that way everybody's happy. But it does add a beautiful warmth and a little bit of heat on the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir that in, get those seasonings blooming. Let them wake up. Now we're cooking here. You know why we're cooking? Because the stove's on. I missed that part of the beginning. Let's also get some, this Pelkin sausage, hardly any grease whatsoever, so I don't need to get the grease out. But I always have some paper towel nearby to just kind of soak it up if I need to, but this is looking good. 1 cup of orzo pasta, that little bitty pasta that looks like rice. I have always found to be incredibly successful in my house. So I add this before the liquid just to get it kind of toasted up a little bit. Let that toast up. I'm also, of course, gonna add a little salt and pep. You're almost done, everybody. You're almost done. Let that toast up for just a moment. And now let's add in our liquids. So I have a can of tomato sauce. I have some Lamer's Heavy Cream here, a cup of Lamer's Heavy Cream. I have also found using half and half works pretty well as well. But sometimes for me to get my kids to eat veggies, I gotta make it creamy and delicious, and then they kind of forget about it, so I just use the heavy cream on this one. And then I'm also gonna do a cup, or about 3/4 cup of beef broth. This is what's gonna cook that pasta, help move it along, and give this all a really good stir. I think that's everything except for one more thing here. So now I'm gonna crank it up. Well, it's already cranked up. This burner, got the right burner, look at me go. A little dash of Worcestershire sauce. So let's get a little Worcestershire. This adds a deep umami flavor. I just do a little dash, easy peas. Now stir this up, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring this to a boil and then reduce it down to a simmer. And all I want you to do is just simmer it till it's done. Just wait till it's done. I got my wooden spoon here with the flat because I do stir it quite a bit. Orzo can be a little sticky. But while that comes up, we got one ready to go here. All right, so it turns out nice and thick. You know what? I'll use the same one. It turns out nice and thick, but of course we're missing my favorite ingredient. Let's go ahead and get in Parmesan. I love Parmesan when I'm cooking like this. It just adds a beautiful, warm, nutty flavor at the end. A little bit of that umami. And then we got a MITG, right? We got to taste it and make sure it tastes good. And we're gonna wrap this up here while I taste this, see what it needs.